What if your life is not a single timeline? What if it is only one version among countless others? Right now, another version of you may exist somewhere, living a completely different life, a different job, a different relationship, a different outcome. And the unsettling part is this: you would never know. Welcome to Unmarked Sky. Tonight we are not just talking about science fiction. We are exploring a possibility that some physicists take seriously. The idea that reality itself may not be singular. There is a film that quietly unsettled a lot of people. It is called Coherence. It does not rely on giant effects or alien invasions. Instead, it shows something much more intimate. A dinner party. 8 friends gather for what seems like an ordinary evening. They talk casually. They laugh. They watch the night unfold outside. And above them, a comet passes overhead. Then, without warning, the power goes out. The entire neighborhood drops into darkness. Every house goes black except one. In the distance, there is a single house still lit. Naturally, they decide to walk toward it. What they find inside is impossible. Another group of 8 people, identical to them, same faces, same voices, same memories. Only one small detail is different: the color of the glow sticks in their hands. That tiny difference becomes the first crack in reality. At first, the situation feels like confusion. Then it becomes something much worse. Every time someone leaves the house and returns, reality may have changed. They are no longer walking through a stable world. They are moving through branching versions of it. That sounds like fiction, but it echoes a real idea from quantum physics. It is called the many worlds interpretation. The idea is radical, but surprisingly simple. When an event has multiple possible outcomes, the universe may not choose only one. Instead, every outcome may occur, each in its own branch of reality. In one version, you turn left. In another, you turn right. In one version, you stay. In another, you leave. Both paths continue, side by side, separate, unseen. This is where the conversation turns from fiction to physics. Quantum entanglement is one of the strangest effects ever observed. 2 particles become linked. No matter how far apart they are, a change in one is reflected in the other. This is not a metaphor. It is a real effect studied in laboratories, and it forces us to admit something uncomfortable. Reality at its deepest level does not behave the way common sense says it should. At that scale, things do not look fixed. They look probabilistic. They look unresolved. They look like possibilities waiting to become definite. And if possibility is fundamental at the smallest level, then the larger question becomes unavoidable. What happens when you scale that idea up? Not from particles to atoms, but from particles to lives, from tiny events to entire histories. Imagine that the universe is not a single story. Imagine it is a structure of branching stories. In one branch, a species disappears. In another, it survives. In one branch, a civilization collapses. In another, it continues. And in one branch of that structure, there may be another you. Not a symbolic version, not a dream version, a literal one. A version shaped by a different decision, or a different accident, or a different loss. Think about your own life for a moment. The job you accepted, the job you turned down, the city you stayed in, the city you left behind, the person you chose, the person you lost. What if none of those paths actually disappeared? What if they all continued somewhere else? That is where parallel universes stop feeling abstract, because suddenly the theory is no longer about space. It is about regret. It is about hope. It is about the life you might have lived. There is another phenomenon that many people connect to this idea: the Mandela effect. It refers to large groups of people remembering something differently from recorded history, not just individually, collectively. One of the best known examples involves Nelson Mandela. Many people believed he died in prison decades before he actually did. Others remember different logos, movie lines, and bits of history that do not match the record. The ordinary explanation is that memory is unreliable, and that is often true. But the more provocative interpretation says something else. What if some of those memories do not feel wrong because they are not random mistakes? What if they belong to a nearby version of reality, a reality close enough to leave an echo? This is speculative. It is not proof, but it reveals why the idea of parallel worlds stays with people, because it offers a strange answer to a strange feeling, the feeling that reality is almost familiar, but not completely. Some physicists, including Stephen Hawking, explored models that leave room for multiple universes. Some of those models involve higher dimensional realities beyond what we directly perceive. Still, the honest answer is important. These ideas remain theoretical. They tell us what may be possible, not what has been proven. Now, take the idea one step further. What if consciousness is not tied to only one timeline? What if it can align with different versions of reality? Some speculative theories imagine an advanced civilization facing extinction. Instead of saving one collapsing world, that civilization might try something else. It might spread itself across many realities, not preserving a planet, but preserving awareness. Copying consciousness, distributing it, ensuring survival not in one universe, but across many. It is a bold idea, and there is no evidence that this has happened, but it opens a question that is hard to ignore. If reality contains many paths, how would you know which one you occupy? Would small inconsistencies mean anything at all? Would memory itself become unreliable evidence? And if another version of you exists living a better life, would you want to see it? If you could step into that life, would you? Or would you stay here, knowing another version of you might be asking the same question? In Coherence, the characters eventually understand what is happening, but by then reality has already fractured. There is no obvious way back to one correct version of the night. One character makes a desperate choice. She searches for a version of her life that looks better than her own, more successful, more stable, more complete. And she tries to take that life, but in a system of infinite versions, there are no clean replacements, only consequences. That is what makes the story linger, not because it proves parallel universes are real, but because it turns the idea into something human. Regret becomes a physical possibility. Hope becomes a physical possibility. And every choice begins to feel heavier. We experience time as a line moving forward. We grow older. We move on. We do not return. But if reality contains many branches, then maybe time is not a single line at all. Maybe it is a structure, and maybe what we call a choice is our movement through that structure. The idea of parallel universes does not give us comfort. It removes certainty. It suggests that reality may be far more complex than our senses can report, and that every decision may matter more than we realize, not because it changes a single future, but because it may define which version of reality we continue to experience. And perhaps that is the real mystery. If you enjoy exploring the edges of reality where science and the unknown begin to overlap, Consider subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell. This is Unmarked Sky.